Teenagers seen beating old men. More at 11.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL Tuesdays episodes. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're breaking down the Sharks' 2-1 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins, snapping their 6-game losing streak. We're going to talk about the young kids, Celebrini, Smith, Askarov, doing their things. Going to dig behind the numbers of this game, talk about how the Granlund line really starting to come along. And the Sharks announced their quarter-century team. So we're going to be looking at that, look at the team I came up with, comparisons, and look at some potential snubs. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5. If you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Teenagers scene beat. I hope you know during the entire intro, I was just laughing to myself as the video was playing. Terrible. But anyway, the Sharks snap their 6-game losing streak. Combination of playing much better, which the Sharks played much better, and playing the Pittsburgh Penguins really helped tonight. But you saw the big contributors tonight were the kids, right? Yaroslav Askarov has to be the big story tonight, as he was outstanding. 32 of 33 saves tonight. The only thing, the only way it had to be weird bounces, right? And that was the first goal that went in, was a weird play. Other than that, Askarov was outstanding, stopping a penalty shot in the third period. And he made it look easy, the penalty shot. Some people are saying that the actual shot that drew the penalty was a much tougher save. And I kind of have to agree with those people who would say things like that. But good to see Askarov have a nice bounce back game, right? Last couple games didn't look himself, didn't look comfortable. I know coming in cold against a Panthers team that was just absolutely a machine last game, but still didn't look great. Tonight looked much better. I still think some of the tracking, he's usually much calmer when it comes to tracking. I think some of the tracking tonight was a little, but just his movement looked so much better, looked more in control, especially as side to side. You didn't see him kind of Martin Jonesing it out into Narnia there. He played much, much better. And this is what the Sharks needed, right? You needed Askarov to have a bounce back game, right? And of course, every goalie is going to have those bad games or have those bad stretches, but I thought it was important for Askarov to come out here and really put the clamps down, and he was great tonight for his night. So again, 32 of 33 saves, 1 goals against, expected goals against 502 in all situations, 969 save percentage, 1 goals against, 9 of 9 high danger, 7 of 7 mid danger, and 13 of 14 low danger. Just a weird, that's why Sidney Crosby is Sidney Crosby. So awesome to see Askarov just be the guy again. And he was the guy tonight. So, and then we got performances from Macklin Celebrini, who went toe-to-toe with Sidney Crosby a lot tonight, and he was excellent. Excellent, Macklin Celebrini. Crosby was good tonight too, but getting a goal, game-winning goal, a goal where the Sharks needed that, right? Very much you give up the game-tying goal, and it felt like things were starting to slip for you, and Celebrini scores. Credit to Tyler Toffoli in both the Sharks goals tonight, right? Coming off of turnovers, coming off of the forecheck. Tyler Toffoli kind of getting in the way, gets a nice pass over to Celebrini. Celebrini crushes it. Had a couple of other opportunities there where he just missed, like Macklin Celebrini. The Macklin Celebrini thing of the night, tonight, I mean, the goal was great. Everything was great. He gets the puck. I think this was on the third power play. It's the second power play. He gets the puck right around the kind of the face-off zone, and just like his ability to just all of a sudden turn it on and then like move, like just that kind of shimmy shake that he can do and just create some separation. And then he gets the pass over. I think it was Eklund, who just kind of didn't have a chance. But again, his ability to create space for himself, create time, just little movements here and there, and he's so good. He's so good. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Will Smith, who also played really well, extended his point streak now. 5 straight games for Will Smith with a point. Had an assist tonight on Mikael Granlund's goal. Again, a play where forecheck caused the defenseman to kind of make a pass that he probably doesn't want to make. How often do we see the Sharks defenseman make that same mistake, and then all of a sudden it's the back of the net? Sharks got some of that puck luck tonight where it's the other team making those kind of dumb mistakes, and the Sharks were able to capitalize. But Will Smith, kind of in the right place at the right time, has plenty of time and space, doesn't panic, sees Granlund, makes a pass to Granlund, who has been on fire lately, which is something the Sharks desperately need. We'll talk more about Granlund here in a minute, but again, you're just getting contributions from the young guys, from the guys who are, going to be part of this is what we want, right? I mean, yes, it's nice to win a game, especially for a Sharks team who desperately needed a win and desperately needed the good vibes. But this is what you want from this team, is seeing the young guys being the ones to kind of start to take over and carry the load and making the big plays. Celebrini, back to Celebrini, he's out there on the 4-on-4 situation late in the game, taking faceoffs against Sidney Crosby. Like, the fact that, again, he's 18, the fact that he's out there in that situation, I think tells you so much about just what the coaching staff thinks of him, right? I know Granlund kind of started taking some of the faceoffs, and it was Granlund and Eklund kind of as the penalty killers, which I love Granlund and Eklund as the penalty killers because they're not just going to be content to just sit on their hands. They're going to try to get the puck, and if they get the puck, they're going to try to push for offense, and we saw them almost get an empty netter tonight, those two guys. But I think for the Sharks, like, yes, you want them to play a little bit better in the third period. Yes, you want them to continue to kind of push for offense, especially when, about the last 10 minutes where it felt very, hanging their ASCII, cat hanging from the clothesline, but still, like, just a much better performance. They skated better. They played better. I thought the defense played a much better, just kind of closing in on guys. Yes, some of the Penguins, noted old man Michael Bunting played really well tonight, but just an overall better performance. And when you have Askarov playing well, kind of like we talked about yesterday, right? You believe in your goaltender. You believe he's going to make a big save when you need a big save. I felt like the Sharks just played with much more confidence tonight. because you knew you knew Askarov was on his game tonight. You could tell from early on, right? Penguins started this game, especially the first 5 minutes. They were pushing hard. Askarov just kind of kept things moving along, kept the Penguins out of it, and you could tell the Penguins were getting super frustrated by the end of the game. So feels good. I know the tank standings right now. Technically, Chicago, the Sharks do jump with one more point, 35-36, but Chicago does have 4 games in hand. So the point percentage, the Sharks are still ahead right now. But again, Chicago does have 4 games in hand. So basically, as long as the Sharks and Chicago just needs to kind of win 1 or 2 more, and then they just basically need to match each other, and the Sharks will be in good spot here going into the draft lottery. So we're going to look at the numbers behind this game, kind of talk about how which lines perform well, how the Sharks, again, that second period, they kind of continue to find their game. And then we're going to look at the Sharks quarter century team. I'll give you the team I had compared to the team they had, and some potential snubs, because there's always snubs. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Super Bowl 59 is here. 1 game, 2 teams. Go Birds. Endless possibility, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting the coin toss, tails never fails. FanDuel makes it easy getting on the action with live betting. All game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing you can place a $5 bet and be potentially winning $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's the icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Super Bowl 59. All right, before we continue, dig into the numbers of the game, of course, want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. When you're done with this episode, go check out one of the other great shows here at the Locked On Network. Of course, you have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. If your fantasy hockey team needs some help, they got you covered. Or check out any of the shows here in the Bay Area. You got Locked On Niners. I knew it was starting to kind of kick up their draft coverage. Locked On Warriors, Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. Plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. All right, let's dig into the numbers of this game. So we had 46-22 of 5-on-5. Couple penalties at the end of the game, plus some 4-on-4 and empty net situation kind of eats away at that. But 46-22 total. Shot attempts were 61-41 in favor of the Penguins. They were pretty even in the first 2 periods, but of course the Penguins pushing really hard after the Celebrini goal to kind of tie things up there. That's where you kind of see the discrepancy. Actual shots at 5-on-5 are 21-24. Scoring chances 33-18, 11-8. High danger chances. Expected goals for 2.74 to 1.58. Of course, all those numbers in favor of the Penguins. I think though the second period is the period, if you're kind of looking like, that was a period where the Sharks really took advantage and kind of found their game, at least for the first kind of 15 minutes or so. 16-18 shot attempts, but actual shots was 11-5, 10-11 scoring chances, 4-4 high danger chances, 0.94 to 0.8 expected goals for. So the Sharks, I think, kind of took their advantage of their opportunity. You saw them get on the forecheck more. You saw them kind of start to dictate terms a little bit more, especially the first half, right after the penalty kill, right? Sharks kind of really found their game after that. And then like the last 5 minutes or so was really all Penguins, and they kind of took over from there. But Celebrini doing Macklin Celebrini things and scoring big goals when the Sharks needed the most. Speaking of Macklin Celebrini, the Eklund-Celebrini-Toffoli line played 13-51 at 5-on-5, 16-15 shot attempts, 7-2 actual shots, had a goal, gave up a goal, 0.26 to 0.29 expected goals for, 8-7 scoring chances, 2-3 high danger chances. Toffoli, who's first point since his return tonight, but I think we've already hit a Toffoli hot streak. He's been very close on some goals. Toffoli, bit of a streaky shooter, as most kind of goal scorers are. I think we're about to hit a Toffoli heater. We're seeing it get close. I'm just saying, I feel a Toffoli heater coming on. I feel it. I think it's coming. So Eklund tonight, very much the doing all the little kind of dirty work stuff, underappreciated stuff. I thought Eklund played a really strong game as well. That line right now is just working really well, and they should continue to do what they're doing. So another line that's been working really well, Zetterlund-Granlund-Smith played 958. Shot attempts not as close as 10-16 there, but actual shots was 9-9. Had the goal, 0.6 to 0.71 expected goals for, 6-10 scoring chances, 4-2 high danger chances for that line. Good to see. Granlund's really kind of come along. I think this line has really, really started to play well. You see Smith playing with more confidence. I think Zetterlund, whatever's been ailing Zetterlund, you're starting to kind of see him getting back to being Zetterlund, being that, F1 on the forecheck, being the first guy, kind of being the that's his role in that line, right? Is go be the kind of pit bull, go create chaos. And then Granlund and Smith are kind of a little bit more of the playmakers there. But good to see this line coming together. If the Sharks, I know the Sharks, we have 5 weeks or so until the trade deadline, and that we're going to be talking a lot about Mikael Granlund, what the Sharks should do with Mikael Granlund coming up. But I do really think one is good for Mikael Granlund to continue to play well, because if you do want to trade him and move on, helps that trade value a little bit more too. Or two, if you decide to keep him, just a little bit of confidence that whatever happened, that kind of 6-week stretch from kind of December 1st to mid-January is past him. We can kind of get back to having the golden Mikael Granlund, who's really awesome and has a big integral part of the Sharks the past kind of season and a half. So good to see Granlund playing well again. Wenberg, Kunin, Kovalenko played 9-16, 6-14 shot attempts, 2-5 actual shots, 0.04 to 0.54 expected goals for, 1-7 scoring chances, 1-2 high danger chances. I thought pretty quiet night from them. There was a shift, I think, in the third period where they kind of created a little bit of the forecheck and kind of created, some positive momentum when the Sharks really needed it, because it was very, again, a lot of the third period is hang in there, ASCII, please hang in there. So, yeah, again, these bottom six guys, it's a lot of moving, kind of rearranging chairs right now. But Goodrow, Colin White, Sharks are 1-0 in the Colin White era. Walker Dewar, 5-0-3, 2-7 shot attempts, 2-1 actual shots. So they didn't get a lot of shot attempts, but when they did, they made them count. 0.13 to 0.34 expected goals for, 1-4 scoring chances, 1-2 high danger chances. Dewar showed off some of the wheels tonight. Had a chance to take a shot kind of on a one-on-one situation. Tried the toe drag, and just couldn't get a shot off there. Goodrow was okay. There was one play that really bothers me. It was right before the disallowed goal where Goodrow's in the neutral zone. He gets the puck, and there's no one around him. Instead of kind of taking the puck and either just dumping it deep or even just skating with the puck into the zone, and even if you just hang on to the puck for 10 seconds or something, he just kind of pokes it in straight to the Penguins defenseman, which then turns the puck into the offensive zone, and the Penguins end up scoring. Luckily, Sharks won the goaltender interference spin the wheel of reviews, but it could have been a big turning point there if that goaltender interference. If the Sharks didn't get goaltender interference there, and Barclay Goodrow is the one who just kind of pokes the puck towards the defenseman, which starts to break out the other way. But whatever. The Sharks won tonight. We're going to take that because again, this team desperately needed a win. As the defenseman, Thorne Thompson led the way with that's the expected goals. Sorry, let me pull up the Corsi. Ferraro Liljegren led the way with Corsi, 15-18, 45.45% shot attempts. Thorne Thompson next at 36.36, 8-14. And then Walman CC 8 for 18, 30.77%. Walman, like you saw a little bit more from Walman tonight. Still, I don't think he's quite turned the page on his injury. So hopefully he can start kind of getting back to being Jake Walman. So Liljegren, I know, had a penalty and he saved a goal. And I know the penalty shot there was kind of based on Liljegren, but like, again, like in that situation, right, you want your defenseman to do whatever you can to try to stop a goal. I thought Thompson looked good tonight as he came in for Jan Ruda, who sounds like it might be a little bit longer than day to day. So hopefully maybe Thompson gets a nice look here. But I thought Thompson looked good. I like his puck moving ability. The Sharks need more puck moving defensemen. So good win. We'll take it. The schedule kind of lightens up here. Sharks play again on Thursday. Then they have like the weekend off. It's really weird. Anyway, so we're going to put a bow on this game. We're going to talk about the Sharks quarter century team, which was announced tonight. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. All right. Before we finish up with the Century team, do want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't, now's the perfect time to subscribe wherever you get podcasts, and of course on YouTube. We're going to be starting to gear up for draft coverage, our draft profiles, getting to know all the top players in the draft with some of our lovely friends who always kind of make their returns. Plus, got you covered for every Sharks game, trade deadline stuff, plenty of great stuff here. So you can follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. If you're listening on Apple, now's a great time to leave a review, as it helps the algorithm gods get Locked On Sharks out there in front of more people. So, yeah, let's talk about the quarter century team. So we had the official Sharks team. I think we're one of the last ones finishing up here with that. This morning on the social networks, I put out my guess, or at least my quarter century team. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I did pretty well. I got 11 of 12 right. So I think I did pretty well on that. So for the actual team, so first team we had, which was an absolute lock. Like everybody knows the first team. So if you don't know what they're, let me kind of back up. If you don't know what they're doing, NHL right now is doing their quarter century team. So players who have played from January 1st, 2000 to now, you are eligible. So I know a lot of Sharks fans were like, Archie Zerbe and some of those other guys, like they're just not eligible. So that it's looking at what guys did from January 1st, 2000 on. So, and they're doing it 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. As they're like so they're doing a first team and a second team for every team right now. Then they're going to kind of vote on the top, have fans vote for the top 25 players, et cetera, et cetera. First team, very much a lock. Patrick Marleau, Joe Thornton, Joe Pavelski. I think everybody, if you've watched a Sharks game at any time in the last 25 years, those are the guys. Like 2 of those guys have their jersey numbers retired. Like when you think Sharks over the last 25, those are the 3 forwards you think of. Then you had Vlasic and Burns as the defenseman, and Nabokov as the goalie. Like, I don't know how you argue with any of those. Those are like 5 of your best all-time players, no matter what years you look at. Like, those are your dudes right there. So pretty simple, I think, for those ones. As for the second team, Lone Couture, Tomas Hertl, Owen Nolan as your forwards. I know the Nolan one is a little bit of a because of he only played 3.5 years. It was three like most of his time was kind of pre 2000. I still gave him the I can see why. Like again, maybe it's a little bit of riding like what he did beforehand, but still, I think Owen Nolan is one of the 6 best forwards in Sharks history. And I think you got to put him on there. So then you had Dan Boyle, Erik Karlsson. I know some people argue the Karlsson one. We'll get to that here in a minute. And then Martin Jones, which I know some people also argued that one. Dan Boyle felt like a lock. It's just you can't put him over Vlasic Burns. Vlasic and Burns, who spent more time here, right? Vlasic, and I know the last couple seasons for Vlasic kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. I still like Vlasic's one of the best defensemen to ever play for the Sharks. Dan Boyle, amazing. Just I think smaller sample size compared to the other guys. Erik Karlsson, who 4th all time among defensemen in Sharks scoring, won a Norris, 100 defenseman to score 100 points in a season in 30 years. I know the the first season great, those middle seasons meh, that last season one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen in Teal. I still think though Karlsson's one of the best Sharks defensemen, and his highs are just insanely high. His lows are, what are we doing here, dude? But Erik Karlsson, again, he's insane. It was insane. I spent many years defending Erik Karlsson. He deserves to be on this list. So, and then Martin Jones. And I know some people would pick Niemi over Jones. I think it's kind of the same thing as like Vlasic, where the last couple years of Jones definitely left a bad taste in your mouth. But go back to the good times with Martin Jones, those first 3 seasons, where he was outstanding. Like the Sharks run to the cup, he was insane that year. 923 save percentage, 3 shutouts. I think his goals against average was like a little over 2. Absolutely insane that year. And Niemi, I think did it maybe a little bit longer, but I think for me, the tiebreaker, at least why I think Jones was more deserving, is because of the playoff success, right? And I think the Sharks just had a little bit more playoff success with Martin Jones than they did with Niemi, and I think that was the tiebreaker between those two guys. I know some other guys who you could potentially argue for. I think for me, like on my original list, I didn't have Hertl. I had Jonathan Chichu. That was my one where I got wrong. Again, kind of the same thing of the highs for Chichu, where he won a Rocket Richard. I gave him the nod for that, and I know again not as long as Hertl, but I kind of gave him the nod for that. But you can't argue with you're picking nits here at this point. So I think Chichu is a guy, like if they did a third team, like Chichu's on the third team right there. Some of the other players, I know like Scott Hannon is definitely a guy you could definitely, make an argument for. Timo Meier, I saw, as well as some people maybe making an argument for him. I could see it, but I think again, yes, Timo Meier has some of his moments, but I think he was always kind of, I don't want to say second banana. I know that the last season he was there, he was easily him and Karlsson were the Sharks' 2 best players. But that was a really bad team, et cetera, et cetera. So I just don't think he did it long enough, or he didn't have the highs as some of the other guys did to potentially get on the list. So yeah, it's maybe, and Ryan Clough is maybe another guy. If they do like a third team, I think you could include Ryan Clough on there. But I feel pretty good about this. I feel pretty good about the Sharks list. Of just what they were, this team, especially this kind of past 25 years. I think it's hard to argue with, again, you could pick some guys here and there. But these are some of the greatest Sharks ever. And I think it's pretty hard to kind of, over these last 25 years, I think it's pretty hard to kind of pick some other guys. So, but yeah, I got 11 out of 12. I felt pretty good about myself with 11 out of 12. So, Chichu, that was, again, it's Tomas Hertl. It's like there's like my wife's like two favorite Sharks is Jonathan Chichu and Tomas Hertl. So, can't go wrong with that. But that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow. Bye, friends.